Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Marketing Wizards Inner Circle. My name is Michael Bridgman, and I have with me a very special guest. This woman is going to rock your socks off, my friends. She is incredibly powerful. She's super insightful about the idea of entrepreneurship and the journey that a young business owner has to take. It's very fresh in her mind, and she has got some serious wisdom, my friends. If you are somebody who's looking to transition out of the corporate world or transition out of a very, well-paying and established job, but it's just not grabbing that itch anymore. It's not grabbing you. It's not giving you what you want. You're ready for a shift and a change, but you're scared. You're afraid of those things. This woman is going to help give you the real keys, the diamonds that there are out there to make that jump and believe in yourself and where you're going. So it is my absolute pleasure to welcome to the show Helen from Brookledge Wedding Venues. Helen, welcome to the Marketing Wizards Inner Circle.
Thank you so much. That was such a nice intro. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Something that hopefully I get to be known for is my fantastic guests and really good intros.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So, Helen, we have got a very sexy topic to talk about today, which is essentially budding entrepreneurship, like just getting started, just getting my feet wet, small business owner entrepreneurship, and how to make that rather terrifying leap. So before we dive into that, though, Helen, give us a little bit of history. So you're at Brookledge Wedding Venue. So what exactly is Brookledge, and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I was a teacher. I taught second grade in Boston Spa, and it was a beautiful district. Loved my students, loved my coworkers, but I was looking to do something different. And we saw this property at the time. It was called Camp Brookledge,
Okay.
and I saw the potential in it. I saw that we could use it for short-term rentals for weddings. So we decided I would leave my teaching career, and we would start this new business. And that's what I've been doing full time.
Wow, what a bold leap. Now, tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about Brookledge, and then we'll
Yeah.
get into that that conquering the fear moment that you must have had. So, what's the uniqueness about Brookledge?
So Brookledge is a former girls' summer camp. So it has cabins, it has nature trails, a lodge, pavilions. It has all the things that old school summer camps would have. It sits on 60 acres, which is just outside of Saratoga Springs. And what makes it great is that it's not your cookie cutter wedding venue. As you can see behind
Okay,
me, it's very rustic. It's
nice.
not like we joke around and we say it's not crystals and chandelier. It's people who love nature. It's people who want a relaxing weekend. They rent the place for the entire weekend. So it's very different than the weddings that we kind of have grown to know where you have your one day. Now they have a whole weekend and they do everything here and enjoy all the property has to offer. There's lodging on site. They have campfires and s'mores, and they're
Wow.
enjoying all of those things. So it's a very different style wedding. It's not for everyone.
And yet, as you've come to discover, there's a real genuine interest and a demand for this kind of concept. And what a really cool idea, that you can have everything. It's like you've taken the all-inclusive kind of resort style and you've made it rustic, right? You've made it something that's appealing to a completely different set of people that aren't as interested in the glam and the glitz of maybe doing a big, huge wedding down in Mexico or something like that. They want something
Correct.
that's more akin to themselves. That's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, and a lot of the couples, they're wanting things very stress-free, very casual.
Mm,
So they're still wearing the beautiful dress and the nice clothes, but instead of a formal sit-down dinner, they're doing a barbecue with yard games and they're walking the nature trails
right.
and they're just spending time with their loved ones. Like they're really focusing on what matters, which is being with your loved ones and having a great time. Because they have the whole weekend, they're not stressed about fitting everything in like 6 hours. So that's the other part, which makes it nice.
Oh, I love that. And
Yeah.
and it's so I'll bet there's far more people that appeals to than you might have even guessed to begin with, right, Helen?
Yeah, we're definitely getting a lot of inquiries for weddings for next year, 2024.
Okay.
We only have a handful of weekends left for this year because New York State outdoor wedding venue, we only have spring, summer, and fall.
Sure.
So our season's a little short. So we only have a handful of weekends, and we're only doing one wedding a weekend. So that's the other thing.
Nice. Okay, pardon me, take us back here to the concept because for
Mhm.
17 years, you were a teacher, Helen. I mean,
I
you
was.
went to school, you got a degree, like you committed a bunch of resources and time to this. Plus, you're a mom.
Yes.
So, I mean, walk me through what that felt like because at some point you obviously realized, and I think this is what a lot of our audience is probably touching on, is that they're going, I'm not happy anymore. Like this isn't serving me. It's not, I'm not doing my best anymore. Like I'm struggling to be and thrive in this situation. How did that feel and how did you come to that realization?
Well, I realized that I still loved being with the children. I really enjoyed my coworkers,
Right.
but I felt like I had completed everything in that profession. I had reached the goals that I had set for myself, and there really wasn't anything else that I was looking to accomplish. So at that point, it was just the same thing every day, every week,
Mm,
every year. And I was looking to do something else. I needed like the creativity part of my brain, I felt like wasn't being used. I
right.
was, yeah, I was kind of doing the same thing. I was teaching the same math concepts, doing the same reading skills. And so I was looking to do something different. And I wasn't scared of the change. I knew that it was going to be challenging. I
Okay.
knew that the comforts of that career, having summer off. I knew being in the wedding business that I was going to be working all summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the same thing as far as the steady paycheck and the benefits. Like those were the big things that as a family we really discussed prior to me doing this. So that was the big thing. But I knew I just needed to change. I felt I was getting kind of bored. I
Mm,
felt like I was doing
okay.
the same thing. And we all hear that, that life is short. And I think COVID too, like a lot of people, made me like look at things and analyze things. I had a little extra time, like we all did. So
Sure.
that was the part I knew at that point I needed to do something different. I wasn't sure what it was going to be yet, but this
Okay.
place, as soon as we saw it, we knew right away, and it happened quick. We saw the place; it was actually under contract. Then within like 6 or 7 months, the contract fell through. The owners contacted us, and then within 2 weeks, we were living on the site. So
Wow. And so
it
you
it
sold
was
your home
we did, yeah,
and
yep,
then
and
moved to the camp.
we live in what used to be the nurse's office. So it was a
Okay.
small, like 400 square foot,
Oh
little
my
tiny place.
goodness.
And we left like a traditional colonial, like what most families, like
Sure.
suburban kind of style house. And yeah, it had no basic amenities in it. The only reason we moved into that one was it had insulation and heat source.
Right. Okay.
So
So it was the one that was
um,
going to be warm in the wintertime versus the other.
yes, yeah. So we had to build bedrooms. Like you said, I
Oh
am a
my gosh.
mom, so we needed a space for my son,
Yeah.
and that's
And
what
now
we
how
did.
old is he, Helen?
He's 13.
Okay. So he
Yep.
definitely needs his space.
He needs a space, so it's
Yeah.
not like a crib in the room. So he needed a room. We needed a kitchen. We needed a
Yeah.
bathroom. So we started off using the summer bathhouses that were here on site.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it was definitely
Amazing.
looking back on it now, it's funny. At the time, it was just like an adventure. Like we told our son, "This is going to be great. You're going to be at summer camp forever."
Okay. Okay. So you said you didn't have a lot of fear around this. Right, because I
Not
know a lot of people would
really.
have a lot of anxiety
Hmm.
and fear around giving up what they built and moving into this. Because I mean, you gave it all up, like, it's not like the pension waits for you, right? So, you gave
Correct.
it up, right? So,
Yeah.
you didn't have
Yeah.
fear. Walk me through why you didn't have any fear about this,
I
and
think I didn't have as much fear because my husband. So my husband
okay,
still had his career. So he is a business owner as well. He owns an auto repair shop. And so I knew that I would have a grace window, a period of time where
sure.
my husband would be helping and supporting us until the business took off. And businesses, having done this with the auto repair shop, businesses are very similar to like our children. So the beginning, it's going to be tough.
Yep.
You're just putting a lot of time and energy in, and they're not really giving you a whole lot back.
We're talking like
And
babies and toddler level, is that what we're talking about
yes,
here?
yes,
Okay, I
yeah.
love it.
I mean, think of the baby stage. They're not even saying "I love you" yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
you're still putting in all that time and energy and hard work. So eventually, the business will kind of come with its routines and its systems. And so that's the spot that we're at right now. So we're going into the routines and systems part. And actually, we're talking about the pipelines. Like we've developed our pipelines. I was
Yep.
listening to your videos, and so that's the part that we're in. We have the pipeline system going in. We have our structures, our systems, but I knew that it was the baby part, just like in everything. I knew it was going to be really hard, and that was the hardest part. And now we're starting to see the rewards of it.
So when you were going through that tough part, Helen, I mean, there must have been moments where you probably like, gosh, what is this a good idea? Is this the right thing to do? How did you navigate those? Because a lot of people get stuck in that sort of self-fulfilling prophecy of negative thought process. So walk us
Yeah.
through a little bit what you did to get out of there. Was it, did your husband, now I know also that your husband was a more worried about this whole process than you were, in fact,
Yes.
even though he had the business and was used to it. He was like, I don't know.
Well, and having a W-2 job, a consistent paycheck, the
Yeah,
benefits to healthcare, and then the other person being the entrepreneur, it's nice having that balance. So he was a little hesitant with both of us being entrepreneurs.
right.
Um, but he was really great at reminding me, when it got hard, that we're gonna have to, there's so many things I want to do, and sometimes we just have to wait until the business, pays itself back, and then we can add those like big plans that I have. So he's great at
Yep.
reminding me that and keeping me grounded. I do come from a family of entrepreneurs. So,
Okay.
like you said, those hard days, you mean like the days I'm crying in the woods because I've got the tractor stuck or things like
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Totally.
So,
Something's blown up or fallen in, or I mean, you've got all these
yeah.
cabins out there. I can't imagine some of the stuff you found, right?
Yeah, there was definitely some interesting things. Lots of little mice and things like that until
Sure. Yeah.
because the place sat empty for about 10 years as far as like people using the
Oh my
cabins.
gosh. So you would have
So
it would have been rodent heaven,
yeah, yeah.
right? You had to get rid of all that.
Raccoons too, that
Sure.
stuff. So on those days it was really hard. I think it's extremely important that you have two things. One, a mentor, somebody who's done this. It doesn't have to be the exact same field, but somebody that has started a business, has gone through the aches and pains. And then
Yeah.
you need your cheerleader. And your cheerleader can't be your spouse. It has to be
Okay.
somebody that is not in it with you, that somebody that's on the outside that could, gives you those pep talks. I have a couple of those girlfriends that, when I share with them what's going on, they're like, Helen, look how far you've come. Look at what you've done.
Right.
It's
Right.
great having those. And then when you come to a problem, it's nice having a mentor and saying, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. What do I need to do? And that's that's what you need when you're having those tough days, because you're going to have them. You're going to have them
Inevitably.
weekly,
Yeah.
monthly. Yeah, you're going to experience them, and especially if you were dealing with the public, there's things that are going to come up that you weren't expecting.
Yep.
So that's the piece. I think having that mentor and having like your cheerleading team. Like
Yeah.
every superstar has a cheerleading, you know, crew in the back. You need those.
They
You need
do.
those
Yep.
people 100%. And so I'm extremely fortunate that I've got an amazing cheerleading group, and I have some great mentors. And the mentors don't have to be people locally. I rely quite a bit
Mm,
on people through social media and finding, my group of people. I have two, because I, in essence, have two businesses. I have the short-term rentals, the vacation cabins, and then I have weddings. So I will reach out to two different groups. I have the
mm.
short-term rental groups, and I ask them like, how are you managing direct bookings? How are you handling, Airbnb and the changes? And then I also have the wedding side. And so reaching out to wedding venues and seeing what they're doing. We're kind of in a weird spot because most places are just wedding venues,
Right.
or most
Yep.
places are just short term rentals. And so we've discovered that there's kind of this gap, where I kind of like I'm a very specific group of people that are looking for this type of thing.
Okay, so there's a couple things I want to unpack there. So first off, I
Yeah.
love the fact that you have found yourself some really critical people, like these sort of leaning post people in your life, because
Yeah.
I think we as entrepreneurs, we value this idea of going after it and doing it ourselves,
The
and we're the person,
hustle, the
yeah, the
grit.
hustle
Yeah.
and getting it done. But the fact of the matter is that when you want to be successful, it's never alone. Like you're never building anything simply by yourself.
Correct.
And we get guidance, we get mentorship from people in our lives. Sometimes it's in different aspects too, right? But we need those people that have walked a path similar to what we're walking before and can point out the pitfalls. They can go, look, this is a trap, Helen. If
Yes.
you give in to this client and what their crazy demand is, that is a trap because it sets a precedent whether internally with your team or internally with you, or they're going to go forward. Like there's traps that we can have our mentors help us avoid. That's just one idea. But the idea too of having a cheerleader is so brilliant. There's a couple people in my life that when I'm feeling like I suck or I'm really shitty at something, I'm like, I need to call this person and just have them go, look, you've got this. Like you remember where you were, where you've got to. You will find your way through this. This is a temporary situation. You will navigate this. Think of what you've been through. Like it's amazing to have those people that allow you to kind of reframe the challenges
Yeah,
and
and
find
they
through
sometimes
them.
they see things differently than you do
Yeah.
because, that they're a fresh set of eyes, which is why I said don't, as my husband's amazing and he's also a great cheerleader, but he's in it with me. So
Yeah.
sometimes when you have someone who's not in it, they see things differently and they'll say, "Well, what if you did it this way?" And you're like, "Oh
Sure.
yeah. Yeah, I should do it that way."
Yeah.
So that's why it's really helpful to have those cheerleaders and those people. You know, they're they're crucial. They're crucial. And they don't necessarily even have to be people, like I said, locally to you. Social media, as much as it gets a bad rep, it also has some really amazing benefits and perks.
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't have anybody around here that's got a summer camp and is doing short-term rentals and weddings. I
Precisely.
just
Yeah.
don't. I don't. I haven't found too many people that are doing that actually across the country, but I have found a couple people who have things similar, and I can reach out to them and talk to them and brainstorm with them, which is great.
I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
And what I also appreciate about what you just said is those cheerleader people, they don't have to also like they shouldn't be your mentors too, right? They can just
Mhm.
be people in your life that really believe in you. They believe in you as a person. They want to see you succeed. They're not trying to undermine you. They absolutely believe that you are worth an incredible volume and really powerful and they want to see you successful. So they could be friends, they could be
Yep.
relatives, they could be somebody else in your life. So if you're thinking about right now, okay, who in my life are my cheerleaders? Remember, they don't have to be someone that also has done this. That's the mentor. The
Yeah.
cheerleader can be someone who's just going, "Yeah, give it, Helen. You got this."
Yep. And the
And they can,
cheerleader's the one when you're like in a disaster, they're like, "I'm there. I'm
yeah,
coming. You need help. I've got it."
yeah, yeah,
And you only need like one or two of those.
yeah.
If you get two, then you got lucky. So having those people, I think, is it's crucial for this type of business.
I love it. So let's
Mhm.
talk about the other thing that you were mentioning there, Helen, because I think as business owners, this is something so critically important. And now it kind of happened naturally for you just because of the nature of your setting and what it is you're doing.
Mhm.
But you really niched down your product. Like you made it super specific, very unique. And there's like, we can be honest, there's probably 75 to 80% of the people that are getting married that aren't interested in that particular venue, but there's
Correct.
the other 15 or 20% that are really interested. And so by nature, you kind of fell into that. But talk a little bit to us about the idea of as entrepreneurs, we don't have to be afraid of narrowing down who we're marketing to because it allows you to get super specific in your messaging and the way you set things up. And in your particular case, really tight on the experience that people
Yeah.
get because you're so focused. So talk to us a little bit about that and what you could some advice you can give to business owners as they're getting started.
And I'll be honest, I was looking on social media, Instagram and Pinterest and all those things. I was looking at different wedding venues and cabins, and I was getting all these ideas. And I was trying to originally create your traditional wedding venue.
Okay.
Picture big chandeliers and
Sure.
very glitzy and glammy. Glammy, that's not even a word, but we're going to use it.
Right. It works.
Um,
It does the trick. Yeah.
Glamorous style. And I just realized it kept taking away from the stone fireplace. It kept
Right.
taking away from the nature, the pond, the streams. And one of the things I loved about the property is it was super popular, the camp here in the 70s and 80s. And it had a very vintage vibe. And I just love all things vintage. I mean, they're saying that the music I listened to my childhood is vintage, but I love all things vintage. And I really leaned into that. And once I started leaning into that, people were like, "This is cool. I love that. I wish I
Mm,
had a place like that when to get married." So then I knew that I was going in the right direction because I was nervous. I wasn't sure would people want to get married with all this like nature stuff and
Yeah.
pavilions and out. I didn't know if there was going to be much of a market for it. As soon as I started talking about it, I saw the interest and I knew that we were going in the right direction. If I
See,
wasn't going there, yeah,
you know what I
I
love
was
about
very
that,
specific.
Helen? You know what I love about that is you started talking about it to people.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I find with small business owners is they base their messaging on their own mind, not the marketplace.
Hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So they build product and they make offers based on what they think is going to be interesting and valuable, rather than going, what does this marketplace really need or want, and where does my interests and their needs meet?
Yes.
Where do
Yep.
those things line up? And as you said, you start talking about this and sort of pitching it like, how should I remodel this place? Should I go rustic? What are people's thoughts out there? And obviously, there was enough interest going, oh, that would have been a beautiful place to have my wedding at. That would have been so cool to have that you felt confident.
Yeah, and I wasn't scared to put the not pretty things on social media.
Yeah.
I would look at the space, like the space I'm in right now. It was definitely not pretty, but I would share my ideas and I would ask people. I would put like polls on, Instagram and say, "What do you think? Should
Mm.
we do this or that?" And people would give me their feedback, and then a lot of times I would take their opinions and change it, or they would give me an idea to look at things a little differently. Uh,
Right,
so,
right.
so I wasn't scared to change or pivot in the moment, but I had to make sure that it followed my theme and my general idea. I mean, some people gave me ideas and it wouldn't work.
Sure,
Um,
for sure.
they aren't in it and they couldn't like see the whole picture. But if they gave me an idea where it worked, then we used it and we kept going with it. And we have discovered who our ideal client is. And we
Mm,
know that our ideal client is somebody who loves nature, somebody who loves more of a carefree, laid back style wedding.
right,
We
right.
know that. And we know that's not for everybody. But people who want to get married in the heart of the woods and be surrounded by the sound of water, we have that for them. And so that's something that you can't necessarily find in a banquet hall. So, but if you want the chandeliers, there's a space for that. And it's okay. I don't need to compete with that. I can have my own thing. And and that's the part that I'm okay with and I'm leaning into that. And I know that there are going to be couples that come here and they're going to dislike it, and that's
Yeah, sure.
okay. They're going to find their thing. And then there's going to be people that come here. Like last week I had a couple that came here and they're like, this place is so peaceful. This is what I want.
Oh,
And that's great. Like I know that I did the right thing and I took a risk and it's going to work. It's going to be okay.
I love that, and that's so important for people to hear, that they don't have to be afraid of running down a specific pathway, like not recklessly, but with conviction and going, "No, this is what I'm gonna do." There's a whole bunch of clients that aren't gonna fit this, but that's fine because the people that do fit it are gonna absolutely adore what we're
Yeah.
doing, and you lean heavily into those people. So that's Helen, I wanna applaud you for that, but also, people that are watching, that is critical, my friends. Like that is incredibly important information. Lean into those things that make you unique. Lean into those differences. You're not building a business just to be like your neighbor. You're building a business to solve problems in your unique way. So make sure that's a big part of your marketing and your message. I love it, Helen.
Yep. Yep. And my neighbors have beautiful things going on. I mean, everybody has their own vibe and their own style. So it's kind of nice that there's a variety out there for people.
I love it.
Mhm.
Okay, so Helen, couple final questions here. Where can people find you? I know that you've got a podcast coming up called
Yes.
Wed and Bed, so
Yes.
that's pretty fun. When does that get
So
launched?
so that's going to be launching in a few weeks. And it's funny, one of the networking events I'd gone to was in Nashville and it was about short-term rentals. And I had an opportunity to speak to a lovely lady. We've since become friends. Her name is Ruby. And she does something similar to what I do, which is she helps her short-term rentals and
Okay,
couples come together to have like a wedding and an Airbnb kind of a thing. So we
gotcha. Okay.
discovered that this is becoming a trend because the younger generations are looking for something a little different,
Yep.
and they're looking into short-term rentals, different types of things like that. And
Okay.
so we saw that there was a need for bringing the wedding world and the short-term rental world together. So where our podcast WED stands for the wedding and BED stands for the short-term rentals together, and how to help short-term rental hosts and couples looking for that type of a wedding and business opportunity.
I love that. That's so awesome. And
Yeah.
how cool is that you met somebody in Nashville whose name is Ruby? I mean, that's just kind of
I
perfect, right?
know. She's so wonderful. And she's on the other side of the country, which is great because she has a different viewpoint of what's going down
Yeah.
where she is. So we can bounce ideas. She's become a friend and kind of we become cheerleaders for each other because we haven't
Nice.
just found too many people doing this. People are kind of scared of weddings because they think of the bridezillas and all those negative things,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be. If you find your right people, it works out fine.
As you said, right? When you narrow down how you're going to deliver this experience, the right people kind of show up and like, nope, that all of those things worked for me. So that's
Yes.
brilliant. I love it.
Yep.
Okay. And you're part of a book, Hospital Hosts.
I am. So there's a book called Hospitable Hosts 2,
Okay.
and I love this book, and not because I'm in it, but I started reading the
But that's
first
part of it.
one.
Like that's part of it.
That's
It's good.
part of it. Yeah,
Part
yeah.
of it. Yeah. So,
I'm page 204 if you're looking for
right.
me. But
By the way.
yes. So Hospitable Hosts, the first volume, it was one of the first books I bought when I went into this field.
Okay,
And what I
cool.
liked about it was it is filled with people who've left careers or done something different
Ah,
and went into the short-term rental world. And it talks
nice.
about how they started their journey, why they love it, the pitfalls, the things that they've done. So when I had the opportunity to be part of book number 2, I said absolutely. And that's how I actually met Ruby because the book was being launched in Nashville. And
Ah,
that's how I discovered Ruby. I met people in my kind of field. I made connections, and now I have more kind of mentors and people to bounce ideas off of. But it's a great book if you're looking for something along that line
love
of,
it.
they call it Airbnb. If you want to do Airbnb, but really there's all different ways of doing it, and that book is great for that. It's
Oh
on
my gosh.
Amazon. Yeah, it
Okay.
actually hit number 1 the first week, which I was pretty
There
excited.
you
Yeah,
go. There you
yeah.
go. Beautiful. I love it. You know what,
Thanks.
Helen? What I love about the other part that I love about this story is it because of your clarity. Like anybody who's watching this right now, remember, because of Helen's clarity in what she's doing and her unique push into the marketplace, you've built a business in less than 24 months,
Yeah, still building. I mean, we've
right?
started it. Yes, 100%.
But it's you've got clients, you got people coming.
Yeah.
There are people that I know, Helen, that are sitting on 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. They're still parked, sitting on the cushion of their business idea,
Yeah. It's
right?
you got to take that first step. It's going
Yeah.
to be scary. I mean, when I handed in my resignation letter, I, I picture myself teaching until the very end, knowing I was no longer going to get my benefits and all of those things. It was scary. It was really
Yeah.
scary. And saying goodbye to coworkers I've been with for more than a decade and not seeing the children, that was a little scary. But now I still get to see the children. I get to see them on vacation, which is
Yeah.
even better. Yeah.
Well, and you know what's critical is you're being you.
Yeah.
You're being you. You're being the best version
Unapologetically
of
me.
Helen.
Yes.
Yeah, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's something that we make these decisions, and then over the course of time, they no longer resonate with us the way they did a decade ago. You're a new person. Of course, it might not feel the same. And
Yeah.
yet, oh, but I did make this decision 10 years ago. Now I'm going to stick with it. I don't think that's fair to the human spirit. I think
No.
we need to, push forward to the things that we really are excited about doing and that really light the lamp for us.
Yeah, and who knows, looking at this space, like it may change again in 10 years. I may not
Yeah.
be doing weddings here anymore. Maybe we'll have an amusement park. Who knows?
Who
Who
knows?
knows, right? So you
Yeah.
gotta keep mixing it up. There was a lady years ago, she's kind of stuck with me, but they asked her on her 100th birthday, what was the secret to life? And she says, every 10 years I changed career, no matter what. And she said,
Yeah.
it gave me an opportunity to meet new people, to learn new skills. And I think she was onto something there.
Yep, yep. It's that forced growth that is
Yeah.
it's enriching, right? It makes you feel alive
Mhm.
again. I love it.
Yes.
Okay, so where can they find you, Helen, on the socials and on the interwebs?
Yeah, so Brookledge, NY, so NY for New York, and I'm pretty active on Instagram. If you want to see kind of the crazy stuff we're doing, that's where you'll find
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then I do have Facebook. I have a page there, and I actually just hopped on a new social media platform. I don't know if you've heard it. It's called Lemon Eight, the number eight. So like lemon, the fruit,
Lemonade. Okay. Yeah.
Lemon Eight, and it's as if you took old Instagram and Pinterest and merged them together. So it's
Interesting.
all pictures.
Okay.
There's no video, there's no reels, and it's very written bloggy kind of form.
Cool.
So
Okay.
I hopped onto that at Brookledge, and we'll see how that one goes. It's kind of getting some traction. So if you don't know about it, Michael, you might want to check it out.
All right. I'll have to check out Lemonade.
Yeah.
And our final piece here, Helen, anything you want to share and to the audience of budding business entrepreneurs that want to grow their businesses?
Yeah, I'm going to try that
Reiterate.
again.
Yep.
Reiterate. Find your cheerleader, find your mentors, and know that you're going to make some mistakes, and it's okay. It's quite all right. Make those mistakes, learn from them, laugh about them, and then move on.
Yep. You gotta bumble your way to success, right?
Yes, it's not always graceful and pretty, but it doesn't matter how you get there. Just got to get to the top.
Exactly. It ain't always glammy.
No, glammy. I'm telling you. I'm going to use that one. I'm keeping
Yeah.
that. And if
All
I
right.
hear you using it, I want you to give me a shout out. Okay.
Yeah, there's a copyright there. Perfect,
Yeah.
Helen. This has been an absolute slice. You're a wonderful person, and pardon me, I'm so happy with where your business is going. So, my
Thank
final question
you.
to you is: can we get you on the show again sometime in the future and see where Brookledge has gotten to?
Absolutely. And I hope if you're ever this way, that you come and visit us.
Yeah, I'm New York next week, so I won't have a
Yeah.
chance
There
to
you
go
go.
that far because you're about 3 hours north of New York. I won't have a chance to get there,
Yeah.
but I will be in New York probably a couple times a year for a while coming. So it'll be fun.
Good. Well, we've got some cabins in the peaceful woods calling your name.
There we go. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Helen. My friends, this has been another episode of the Marketing
Yeah.
Wizards Inner Circle. I have been Michael Bridgman. That has been Helen from Brookledge. You have been awesome. And I will see you in the next episode of Marketing Wizards Inner Circle. Ciao for now.
Thank you so much.